Yo, yo, yo! What's going on, great people in all of the great land? It's your guy, Nicholas Wilcox. It's your guy, the one and only Johnny Main. Johnny, say what's up to the great people.
What's going down? Happy week 11. Playoffs is right around the corner for everybody, or for some people, maybe not for you. But even if it's not for you, we got you covered here today. We got you with some DFS. We got you with some props. Holiday ham is coming soon, so want to make sure you holiday ham. Yeah, want to make sure y'all good to go, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, this is the time of the year we live for, right? This is the moment where we all look at our phones, even during the holidays, and look and seeing if we are crushing our opponents in the playoffs or if we're just not looking at our phones at all. And that just means that we ain't trying to stomach a loss. So, this is that time of the year where we got to crank up, we got to dial in. Any last minute trades sometimes. I'm seeing some leagues that already got trade deadlines upcoming and stuff like that. So make your moves now because this is the time and moment to do so. But that being said, we're breaking down, the DFS analysis, of course. We got your props, your bets, your last minute start sits, your last minute waiver wire advice as well. Any questions as well we are taking throughout the show. So feel free to drop them in the chat. If you ain't shown the love already, feel free to follow us on the X platform. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our TikTok. Don't forget our Spotify, and don't forget our TikToks as well. We out here. Johnny's putting in work when it comes to those videos, so I'll be sure to put some on as well. So that being said, we're going to be breaking down week 11 game by game, breaking it down, and again, taking questions as they file on in. So again, week 11, here we go. So first game we're going to start with.
Damn, you ready for it? Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, first game we're going to start with.
Let's get it.
A game that is something that I think across DFS land is going to be something where it should be a bit more chalky today in terms of the pieces, in terms of how the game flow should go based on what the matchup has been and also what tendencies both teams come in with. Bengals getting 5.5 on the road going into Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. The over-under is 48.5, 1 p.m. game. Obviously, this is a game where let's rewind a few weeks back, right? Thursday Night Football, where the Steelers had this same situation going into Cincy, and you didn't really know what to expect in some ways, but you didn't expect a absolute shootout that won me a $9,000, not plus 9,000 lotto ticket on a Thursday night, which is crazy. But in terms of how the Steelers stand, like they got to win this one. It's a division game. You're not going to take it lightly. These boys already beat you, right? So what do you say, Johnny, to this game? How are you looking at when it comes to both of these sides? And I'm gonna say really, and I know you don't want to. I know you want me to say this, but it's something for like intrigue down the stretch. If the Bengals win this game, and Burrow is like, there's talk about him going, he was practicing and stuff. It's like, do these Bengals have any shot if they beat you guys again down the stretch? Or is this like, okay, like if they get a victory, who cares? It's like, there's still not going to be. They ain't gonna still be shit.
I mean, this game it's obviously way more important for the Steelers than it is for the Bengals. I think, like, obviously, if Joe Burrow he's gonna come back and play. Like, I think like that's one of the things that's there for him is whether he's completely healthy or not. This franchise is a mess anyway, and they're still gonna trot him out there. So I think there's that. Do I think that the Bengals have a chance if they win today? Yeah, like I think they do. I think they've shown in the past, right? Like they still are one of the better offenses in the NFL for sure. So there's always like a place for them as far as being able to get back into the playoff hunt. Yeah, you got to rip off 7 straight wins to even have a chance. But obviously, there's still a lot of football left for sure. So. Yeah, like the Bengals, they could still get there. Like it's not out of the realm of possibility. I think we've seen it last year where it was like a win for them, and then somebody else had to lose to get in. So there's still plenty of time for that. For Pittsburgh, I think like this is just one of these spots where yeah, like they got caught slipping on Thursday Night Football a few weeks ago against the Bengals, and I think like obviously the biggest thing that has to change is how they cover Jamar Chase. That's got to change. Like that's got to change for sure. So I'll be interested to see if or what type of changes to how they attack him in this game will be different if there is any changes. I think for the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers is coming off of probably one of his worst game clearly as a Steeler.
Yeah.
I mean, what better get right spot than Cincinnati? I think like from a fantasy side of things, like this is a space where like a lot of people will probably be going to. The weather is, I don't know, I think I've seen something that's like 10 to 15 mile an hour winds, like with some gusts to like 20 or 25. So be interested to see how that shakes out. Although both of these quarterbacks actually are used to playing in bad weather, so it's not anything that's new for them. As far as plays go, man, lemon pepper chalk of the week, Jaylen Warren, 33% on DraftKings at 6,100, and then Chase Brown at 30. Jamar Chase at 23, and then big drop, and then it goes to DK Metcalf, who's actually the one guy I think in this game who should have a big bounce back spot for sure. Like they've got to shouldn't say they've got to figure out a way, but he's got to be better, and Aaron's got to be better in that space. And I think this is just a nice bounce back spot for him for sure. Tight ends are interesting for me personally. I think Darnell Washington is a nice punt option. I think you guys can see that. Aaron Rodgers does like to get to him. So if you can pay down for him and maybe he catches a touchdown, he pays off his price tag for sure. T. Higgins is really the guy I'm worried about in the game, to be quite honest with you, for sure. Right. So like overall for me, like, yeah, I'm going to take the Steelers for sure. I just think like there's too many things that are aligning for them. Bad performance on Sunday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers playing bad football. They just, got beat by these guys a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I'm going to take the Steelers, man. I'm not going to hesitate on it. We know what it's going to be with Joe Flacco. We know, obviously, he's going to be chucking the ball all game long. That is the Cincinnati Bengals offense, so there's no ifs, ands, buts, and bees about that right there. We know what it is with Jamar Chase. Not really like a lot of – I'm not even going to try to throw any numbers at you because, like, just bottom line, he's good, they're bad. So – that's pretty much all it shakes down to for the Steelers as far as like their secondary, and they have to play better today and they have to be better.
Yeah, I mean, hate to say it, but I did call the Chargers when we last were on air. And partially is because, again, like with Pittsburgh, the problem with them, and you've seen it, is that the lack of ability to have that stretch receiver down, to help out when Metcalf is either being doubled or the focus is on him in the passing game. It's like there's only so much check down stuff that you can do versus until like your offense just kind of gets stalled out where it's like, okay, it's a 3rd and 7. It's like you can't complete it. Then it's like, again, like it gets back. You can't keep on moving the sticks. And something I also, to a worse degree, what I'm saying, with the Jets, the same thing. It's like you got to have some downfield work go on. And with Rodgers, I know sometimes he loves to check it down. He loves to just keep the sticks moving. But at times, you just got to let that ball go. But the problem sometimes with Steelers is that, like, if it's not Calvin Austin outside of Metcalf, maybe hopefully Roman Wilson can make a big play today. Like, it's just you're looking for those bigger plays down the field so that way you can open up your offense even more to what it's already been. So, you like your boys minus 5.5 today?
Yeah, of course, 1,000%. Like, there's no way like I'm moving off them in the spot. Like, like I mentioned, they this is a perfect storm for them. This is a perfect storm. They just played, one of their worst offensive football games on Sunday night. Like they're playing a team that like is a get right spot. It's at home. Like there's a lot of things that like I like in their favor, and this is typically when I don't want to say the seat gets hot, but like the critics start chirping. This is typically when Tomlin and the guys show up. So been living this life for the last 20 years. So decked out in my yellow today, so you know what it is.
I sure do. So Steelers -6. I'll take the over. They should be a game of back and forth going. Man, I'm gonna take the Bengals +5.5. I still think this team is something where I just think with Joe Flacco and these guys moving the ball really well, like it's just one of those situations where I think I'm not expecting them to win here, but I do expect a fight here. And the weapons on the offensive side for Cincinnati is definitely there. Obviously, the matchup for Jalen Warren, you're facing the worst run defense based on metrics. But then Cincinnati has 2 weeks to prepare for you guys. So it's just going to be one of those things. I still expect Steelers to win, but I think 5.5 for the Bengals is a bit too generous. Moving on to Chargers-Jags game. Chargers getting 2.5 going into Jacksonville. And in terms of this game, the over-under 43.5. I think I got the records mixed up here. For some reason when I was uploading this. No. Chargers 3-6, really? That can't be right. That can't be right. I must have done something. I must have done a boo-boo. What did I say? Like, so happens we copy and paste. I have the Jaguars record, right? Can't hear you now.
They're 7-3. The Chargers are 7-3. The Jaguars are 5-4.
What did I say? I was like, wait a minute. No, that's what happens. So, Chargers 7-3 on the year. I was like, wait a minute, that can't be right. Going into Jacksonville, 5-4 Jags. So over under 43.5. I guess what I like about this game overall is I do think that the Jaguars is going to be one of those teams that they're a decent team, but then it's like, they're suffering from injuries. Obviously, there's Brian Thomas Jr. I believe is on the wrong side of questionable coming into this one. If they don't have him, makes it even worse for Trevor Lawrence here. There's a lot of talk about the Jackson, with Cohen basically saying that Trevor Lawrence you just need to throw the rock, bro. You just need to get out there and just chuck it, my guy. And again, he would, but he's down to like what? Parker Washington and maybe Denami Brown today, and then there's still no Brenton Strange. Like there's not much he can somewhat do. He doesn't have certain weapons here. But I'll say this, like, the overall Jaguars here, I just think that this should be too easy for the Chargers here. But the problem with the Chargers also is that they sometimes have letdowns going on the road. But again, like Herbert's playing hot football. And the Jaguars, their defense is allowing at least 280 passing yards in 5 of their last 6 games. So Justin Herbert coming in hot, like this should be a spot where I expect him to do his thing once again. So give me the Chargers minus the 2.5. Give me the over because I do think that the Jaguars should put up some points. I know the Chargers right now still, for a pass defense perspective, they're still suffering, stifling people. So I do expect the over under 43.5. I think it's just a little too low. So give me the Chargers, give me them to cover, and give me the over.
Yeah, no, Justin Herbert's actually my favorite play on the slate today, a quarterback. Him and Ladd McConkey. Yeah, I can't stop getting away from him and McConkey, and then in some respect, Gadsden, obviously, like sprinkling in some Keenan Allen and some QJ in there. But QJ, like he's the one that like nobody's playing like given this game here. As far as like from an ownership perspective from DFS. So I'm cool with that, man. He's at like 2% on DraftKings. So this should be a really, really good spot, like as you mentioned, for the Jags and for Justin Herbert. The other thing too to call out is Kamani Vidal, man. Like, we're kind of, if you have Omarion Hampton, like this has been rough. But if you have Kamani Vidal, like you had some good weeks, you had some bad weeks. And one of the things that actually I did see with him, just as far as like from a rushing side of things, is it's all about the boxes for him. And for him, like he's faced a stack box more than anybody in the league that's had 50 carries. So if the Chargers are able to open this thing up and spread it out a little bit more, like don't be surprised if we look up and see Kamani Vidal with, a 2-touchdown game or even crazier than that. Just might be a good opportunity to get him going for sure in that space. And then, from the Jag side of things, I think I seen something Jacoby Myers had a game high, like 39 or 49 yards, something like that receiving. So it's really hard for me to like look at this game and be like, all right, like, let me stack up some Chargers and like, let me bring back some run back options. It's really hard for me to kind of say that. So that's tough. And if there was one guy that like I would be willing to run it back with, probably would be Travis. Yeah, it'd be ATN, like for sure. And like he's been hit behind the line of scrimmage on almost 40% of his carries like at this point. So it's a tough game to stack and run back and stuff, but like just I'll plant my flag today, man. But like I said, with Justin Herbert and the pass catchers for the Chargers, because I think even though this is a road game and even though it does feel weird and all of that kind of stuff, I think it's been fool's gold all year long with the Jacksonville Jaguars, like for me, for sure. And then like also too, the other element is like there's not like Lamar Jackson is obviously on this slate, and obviously we'll talk about that game later, but Lamar, it just doesn't look right with him from a mobility side of things. It just doesn't. And maybe he throws 3 or 4 touchdowns today, against the Browns. But if he does, then it's maybe 230 yards and 4 touchdowns, right? Next closest guy from like a mobility, Josh Allen's like the highest priced guy on the slate. So like that kind of limits you as far as what you can do in the other spots. So when you look around as far as like guys that are mobile, on this slate, like Justin Herbert checks the boxes for mobile quarterbacks and just from his performance so far from this year. So I think that like for me, I think he's just the best quarterback play on the slate. He's a little pricey, but he's not the highest priced guy. He's got obviously like a good situation. His pass catchers aren't through the roof as far as the pricing. So Justin Herbert's a good like I said, like he's my highest owned player today. At quarterback, like no question at all about it. And then as far as from the game side of things, DraftKings ATN is actually the highest owned player in this game at 16%, followed by Aronde Gatz in the second. So yeah, man, again, I can't keep saying it. The Chargers for me in this space is where I'm leaning, man.
Yeah. Yep. No doubt. Moving on. Bucks, Bills. Both teams 6-3 in the year. Bucks getting 6.5 going into Buffalo. The over-under 46.5. Johnny, what you have for this overall showdown between two conference, I would say teams that are on the cusp of looking to get their top spots in the conference, but officially aren't there yet. What do you have for this game?
Like this is like I definitely think like this game right here is definitely two teams. Like obviously they're both 6-3. I think like for the Bucks, like we know what it is for them offensively. That's they're a weighted team as far as like them being the best version of themselves is having like all of their offensive weapons. And like I don't even know if we've even actually had a game where all of their weapons offensively, as far as the skill position, have actually been on the field together. I can't even recall it. And if so, man, it was probably for a very, very short time or a few snaps, obviously. So you have that. And I think like the Buccaneers, obviously MVP talk for Baker has kind of fizzled out. The Bills are in a really tough situation. And when you look at like what the Patriots have been doing, really, they're in a really tough situation. So this is a big game for both of these teams, man. So for me, like from the DFS side of things, just mentioned it, man. Josh Allen's the highest owned player. Obviously, we got a little bit of bad weather here. And I say bad weather. We got some wind in this game. For sure, which talked about it a little bit with Rick on Friday, man. Like both of these quarterbacks, well, specifically Baker Mayfield playing in Cleveland, like this isn't his first bad weather game.
Right.
Emeka, like not his first bad weather game. Like, You play in Ohio, like that it is what it is. So I'm not overly concerned about the weather in this space, but I do think it can have an impact on the game, if that makes any sense. James Cook, he's somebody that last week didn't happen for him, man. One of the first times all year that didn't happen. And then a surprise scratch for the Buffalo Bills with Keon Coleman this week, and obviously no Dalton Kincaid as well. So, if you're looking for pay down options as far as pass catchers, like there's a couple of them that are available for the Buffalo Bills. Buccaneers, obviously Rachaad White getting the start again, man. No Bucky Irving, so continuing to ride that. Yeah, man, continuing to ride that one. but not a lot of ownership coming in at this game. And I think a lot of it has to do because of the price tag and obviously
The weather.
the price tag, weather. I definitely will say more so the weather for sure. But Khalil Shakir is the guy, 11%. And it seems like he's just been very, like all year long, like nothing crazy. He hasn't killed you or anything like that. So like Josh Allen is at 6%, and then James Cook is at 7%, and then Emeka is at 5%. So not a lot of ownership coming in that space. I kind of moved off of those guys in my GPP plays as far as FanDuel goes. I mean, obviously I still have like White and Cook, like they're obviously in play. And so is Emeka, but like from the quarterback side of things, I'm moving off of those guys as pass catchers. Keep an eye on Tez Johnson too, man. He's been really good in the red zone. I think it's something like he's had 4 touchdowns in his last 3 games. So if they get down that way, like that's somebody to keep an eye on. If you need a flex option, I know there's only 2 teams on bye, but like if you're playing in a league where he's available and you got some questions as far as your lineup goes, you can go there with him. For me, I am every time I'm just like, I don't know why I'm so like partial to the Bucks. Probably because I can actually like Baker Mayfield now because he doesn't play for the Browns. But I'll just say I'll and the Bills defense has been shaky too. That's another thing, man. Like that makes me like I'm going to take the Bucks and the points because I think they'll be able to keep this game close. But straight up, it's kind of hard to go against the Bills at home. But I think like this line for the Bucks, I'll take it to 6.5 with those guys for sure.
Yeah, I like the Bucks plus 6.5 in the over. I just think that Rachaad White doesn't like not like the biggest in between the tackles runner. And they have Sean Tucker to split that with. But I just think Baker's going to keep on throwing. This is going to be a game where it's like, hey, Baker, I know the weather doesn't look great, whatever today. We need you to keep throwing anyway. We're going to need you to keep on chucking the football anyway.
Very possible.
Bills defense, like, so looking this up, my guy Warren Sharp dropping knowledge for this one. This is like one of the weird discrepancies I've probably seen all year. And this is just one of those things where you're gonna have to watch to see if it actually starts like happening. But Josh Allen against the blitz, he's 9th in the NFL in yards per attempt, and 16th in EPA. When he's pressured on blitzes, he is 31st in EPA and 31st in yards per attempt. The Bucs defense already top 5, obviously defense, blitzing. So that's something to watch out for. Because if they're going to bring if they get home on Josh Allen when it comes to blitzing, this could be a long day for him as well. But again, like the play action is basically where you beat this Bucs team because the Bucs are a defense that they allow the 4th most yardage in the NFL against when you're using play action passes, 6th most in completion rate, and they allow the 2nd most yards per pass per attempt. So, and when teams are not using play actions against them, they're a way better defense. They're more in the middle of the pack in a way, but also they're a defense that when they get home and you're not using play action on them, it's like if you're not freezing some of these linebackers when they're starting to go, like, yeah. So I can see why they're a defense that, can be overall play action wise. So this is going to be just more telling to see how this game kind of unfolds. But obviously the weather is going to be something to factor in. But I just like the Bucs here. They're a team that's just pretty gritty. I know Buffalo's going to have to win this one. But I like the Bucs from a betting perspective today. Next game, Bears Vikings. What do we have here? 2 teams in the NFC North that is overall going to give us some overall nice production, hopefully. The over-under 47.5. Your guy, Caleb Williams. What I'll say in this game is that I like both these teams when it comes to just we can see a nice little shootout, right? Bears and Bengals. We got that a couple, was that the last week or the week prior. And we overall got that. So I think when it comes to both of these teams, it's more about like who's going to showcase, like outdo who. we see McCarthy. He's been a solid guy for the Vikings. I seen an interview earlier in the week where Justin Jefferson says he's get back to savage ways. And I'm like, I like the sound of that. Jefferson hasn't been himself all season. And granted, I give him a pass because like the quarterback and then this and that. What is it? So I think the matchup definitely spells for himself. Again, the Chicago corners have just been dealing with injuries and underperformances and getting gashed all year long. So definitely like Jefferson in this spot for the Vikings for sure. And when it comes to the other side of things, like Roma Dunze, like is DJ Moore absolutely playing today? I thought the last time I checked he was questionable. But the Vikings, they give up the 7th most targets to the slot. So that would be a good, good for both Moore and Adunze. Maybe even Luther Burden today. Maybe even Colston Love today. But I do like that matchup in general when it comes to the slot. So when it comes down to it, who do I like a little bit more? I like the Bears a little bit more. They just seem to have, with McCarthy, it's like, I think it's going to be a telling game for him. Because if the Vikings don't pull this one out today, I kind of just see their season kind of, fading off into the sunset. They're at home in a game that they got to win against division foe. So I just I do like the Bears here in this spot. So give me Bears. And give me over. Yeah.
I think this is going to be, it should be a pretty good fantasy environment, for sure. Like, I think the Bears have been in a lot of like games that are like really good as far as fantasy environment goes. I told you earlier, man, like probably the reason why like I'm not like over the moon in this game is just because like I can't pick which Bears wide receiver is going to be. I can't pick which one it's going to be. So I said, you know what? So today I ain't going to pick none of them. So you can thank me later. When DJ Moore and Roma Dunze go off today, you can thank me because I didn't play my flag on either one of them. I didn't play either one of them. Yep, not going to play either one of them. But no, like I obviously like in the GPP format, obviously I did. Caleb Williams was one of my 5 quarterbacks that did make my pool. Actually, one of my 5 or 6 quarterbacks that did make my pool. Again, like mobile quarterback, that aspect of his game is grossly underrated still, I think, to this point. And even with JJ, like the thing about him is, like he moves around a little bit. But the other thing too is him as a thrower hasn't necessarily been something to write home about for sure. And then like when you talked about Jefferson, so Jefferson is averaging 4.3 receptions and 52 yards per game with JJ McCarthy being the quarterback for the Vikings. So, yeah, so that's like, when you look up top, like your receivers today on this slate, right? Like you have Chase, you have him, you have Puka, you have JSN, and I think it's a little bit easier as we were talking about, like I just got done saying, for me, it's easier to kind of look at this situation and go, all right, let me move down to a guy like Ladd McConkey, where like I can actually have some extra money, to build my roster the way that I want to for sure. Versus just paying for a name at this point with Justin Jefferson. I hope he gets back on track today. Again, like narratives, for me, it's one of the things like paying attention to. So I think like in a situation like this where he's calling it out in the media, I would expect for them to try to find very creative ways to get him the ball, even if it's just schemes or even if it's just like, hey, intentionally, drawing up, the first, 15, first 20 plays specifically to get the ball in his hands because he is their best player. And like, really, he's going to go as far as they go. Now, the other side of this coin is playing a lot of Aaron Jones today, which, again, makes me want to vomit because I don't even know if he's going to finish the game. And, of course, it would make logical sense that if I play Aaron Jones today, he doesn't finish the game. And it would make logical sense if I don't play DJ Moore and I don't play Roma Dunze, that they go off. So, again, thank me. DeAndre Swift's another nice play in this game, for sure. Like I like him. Both running backs, obviously. You know what I mean? Like I think that's a good spot. Still waiting on TJ Hawkinson, man. Nice pay down spot. At tight end. Like it's been bad. It's been bad, right? It's been bad. But again, like as the hits keep coming with tight end, no Sam Laporta as he's on IR. I know that has absolutely nothing to do with the slate, but just talking about the position aspect of it. Yeah. Like maybe it's just a war of attrition, and that's how it ends up. But like a nice pay down option for him. So if you're running any type of game stack, JJ is a very popular play today. And I don't even think, man, I was looking at his yardage and stuff earlier in the week, just trying to like get a feel to be like, all right, maybe not. But I don't know if he's actually hit. I don't think he's hit 300 yards this season. I'm almost positive with that. I don't even know if he's been over 250, but I mean, on the season, 692, 5 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, quarterback rating of 65 and some change. It's hard to have any confidence about any pass catchers for the Vikings in that space. So give me the Bears and the points. I like the situation. I like the setup. I think they keep rolling here, but Aaron Jones is a guy that like I got a lot of, and I'm playing a lot of him today.
All right. Yep. Can't believe you're playing a lot of Aaron Jones today. That's crazy.
I played a lot of Jalen Waddle last week, so listen.
I know.
Hey man, listen. If it makes sense, it makes sense. That's one of the things. Like I told myself is, I'm not going to be so blinded by players and what they've done to me or what they've done for me or what they haven't done for me. But this is just like a better situation. I feel like for Aaron Jones. Because, like, again, man, like the passing game just hasn't been there for the Vikings. And if the passing game hasn't been there, then Aaron Jones is next in line for, easiest and most simplistic way to get the ball into a playmaker's hands. He's still a playmaker. Like, I won't take that away from him. It's just his durability has always been the biggest concern. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Makes sense. On to a crap game. Texans getting 5.5 on the road going to Tennessee. Tennessee coming off the bye. The over-under is 37.5. Davis Mills still starting for Texans. Obviously, with CJ Stroud out. Cam Ward obviously still expected to start. But again, like, jeez, like, I tell you, man. Again, talk about a gross matchup on paper. I just think that, I don't know. I mean, hopefully there's some adjustments made for Cam Ward. I'm still rooting for the kid. But he's, again, like, he's just struggling, you know what I'm saying? And obviously, he faces a vaunted Texans pass defense in this one, where, the Texans rank second in lowest adjusted percentage for completions. So 69%, 69.2 completion percentage rate. So that's something alone where I'm like, well, the Texans defense, they've always come up and showed out. So that's something where, again, like, that's just kind of where it goes. For the Titan side of things, like, again, like, what is there to go after? Like, I hope that they come out and actually make it a game. But it's more about, I think I'm riding the Texans on this one. Titans, they still allow third most yards after contact to opposing running backs. So this would be a spot where Nick Chubb and or pretty much Woody Marks should be able to have their way in this spot. So that's just where I see fit. So give me the Texans minus 5.5. Yeah, I'm not sure about the over under. Give me the over because I just like room for an over. It is what it is.
Yeah, this one here, ironically enough, is another game and another situation that like I'm in on. I'm in on the Texans here. Like I said it last week, I'll say it again here. Davis Longneck Mills, he knows what the mission is. The mission is to get Nico Collins the ball. So Nico Collins is a place where like I'm going to, and the same thing with Woody Marks. Feels gross having 2 Texans in your lineup with a game that has a 37.5 over. But I think like we're starting to see it with Woody Marks, right? Like I don't think there's any questions about it. And then obviously with Nico, it's the same thing. Like he's gonna get the football. Like that's the thing. Like with David Mills, he's been making sure that that's a thing. And then when you talk about just the game overall, you already talked about the Texans defense. So just to put it in a nutshell, Texans have the NFL's top ranked scoring total defense. And I know this is going to come as a surprise to everyone, but the Titans are the league's last ranked scoring offense. So like, I don't think it even matters that Davis Mills is out there playing quarterback as we're sitting here talking through it, trying to figure out if I want the Texans to be my survivor pick today, or if I want the Ravens to be my survivor pick. And I'm just trying to kind of go through it. And I'm like, man, like the Texans ones, that's very intriguing, but also too, obviously it's a little bit dicey because, you still have Davis Mills out there. And like, granted, no matter what we think or what we say about things, like there have been moments where the Titans have been pesky, and they can make some plays on special teams and things like that right there. So I'm not completely writing them off in this game. The Texans is absolutely who I'm taking. But like when you look at this from like the DFS side of things, actually on DraftKings, the Titans are 15% owned in this game. So you talk about like creating some leverage for yourself or blowing things up. A defense is 15% on, probably because they're the absolute cheapest defense on the slate. That's a great way to be able to do that. Woody Marks is at 10%. Nico Collins is at 10%. Woody Marks is at 9%. And then Dalton Schultz is at 4%. On FanDuel, I even actually rolled out a couple of like Texans onslaughts just because the pricing isn't bad. And if Nico Collins does find pay dirt today 2 times and, Davis Mills or even 3 times, right? I know I'm being dramatic here, but if that happens and 250 yards and everything else hits, that could be a really good situation. Just, for me or even for you, like if you're doing that, it is also within the realm of possibilities as well, people, that Davis Mills might go out and throw for 73 yards and 3 interceptions. It is in the realm of possibilities, but at this point,
definitely,
it's in the realm of possibilities, right? But I think like kind of to go not all the way backwards, but just a little bit where we were talking about Justin Jefferson, right? And JJ, like backup quarterbacks and veteran quarterbacks, like they understand that, like, hey, like if we get our best player the ball, especially if he's a pass catcher, that's just going to put our offense in a much better situation, right? And not trying to ad lib. And I think that's just what it is with Davis Mills. The Texans still obviously have something to play for at 4 and 5. The Titans, I was looking at this to go like mildly off script for a second. I was looking at it yesterday, and I was like, is this deja vu all over again? Because the Titans have the number 1 pick. The Jets are in the top 5. The Saints are in the top 5. And the Browns, I'm like, it's like this is just another way to say that, like, bad teams are always going to be bad and the good teams are always going to be good because, like, they just don't do dumb shit. But anyways, give me the Texans today in this one right here for sure. And I'll put an asterisk beside it as possibly my survivor pick. I'll let you guys know about that a little later.
Strong consideration. Got it.
Consideration, yes.
Panthers, Falcons. Panthers getting 3.5 in a row going to Atlanta. Take on the Falcons. And the over-under right now, 41.5. It's very interesting that we're at this point of the season now where, the Atlanta Falcons like are 3-6 and the Panthers are 5-5.
Mm-hmm.
And going to Atlanta, look, man, why don't you feed Bijan Robinson the football? Huh?
I mean,
it was nonsense. Freaking Raheem talking about Tyler Algiers, like, come on, bro, get up out of here. You're a superstar running back in Bijan Robinson. You're trying to crown Tyler Algier as a star on the team, like, dude, he does everything we ask of him. Like, come on,
yeah.
Please,
it's scary hours, bro. It's scary hours, like with that situation.
Last 3 games for Bijan Robinson has not been smooth. You know what I'm saying? I just think that what we got, what'd you say, Rick?
Anytime Atlanta's a favorite, bet against them.
Literally, that. And Carolina has not been playing bad football like at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, so literally just beat the Green Bay Packers. So it's like yeah, like I definitely like the Panthers with the plus 3.5. Makes too much sense here. This Atlanta team's very weird. I'll just say that, like, defensively, like, you think they get cooking, and all of a sudden it's like, they just don't. Like, the thing with Carolina, I'll probably hamper them is that, again, like, Bryce Young just has to be better. Again, the last 5 weeks, the Panthers have been a team that is, they're bottom in the league when it comes to pass rate over expected. I think it just has to change. You have some weapons on this offense, like, Jalen Coker, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, Tyrone McMillan. There's weapons in his offense that you need to start utilizing. And you shouldn't be, bottom in pass rate over expected. I know they love to run the ball and stuff like that, whatever. But it's like you got to be able to throw the football. And then just to dismiss this terrible showing they had against the Saints last week. It's like this is why it's like you guys are where you are. It's like you guys aren't keeping things totally balanced. It's like you can't run the football. Now all of a sudden Bryce Young is freaking, throwing deer in headlights type of mentality. It's like, bro, like you gotta get together. With that being said, for the Falcons side of things, Kyle Pitts has been someone that's been, really underwhelming. In general, hasn't passed 10 fantasy points in the last 6 games. That against Carolina, the last 6 games, he hasn't put up 10 points or more. Against Carolina, which is really weird. We should be able to feed the football. And where I am with Penix, it's like same thing. I feel like both of these guys are the same right now at quarterback. It's like both of these guys are like, you get the ball to Drake London, I'm saying you know how to get him the football, right? Just get ball Bijan Robinson. But what I'll say, and I'm done ranting, is what what I would say is expect to be a gross game. I take Carolina. I'm gonna take the under in this one. What do you got, Johnny?
Yeah. First thing I'll tell you, man, is Raheem Morris does not care about your fantasy football team. So
nope, he doesn't.
He doesn't care.
Nor does AJ Brown.
Yeah, AJ Brown is dead to me. He's dead to me. AJ Brown is dead to me. He's dead to me. I'll say it again. AJ Brown is dead to me. Yeah, but like when you talk about like the Panthers, man, like that is like just it's a really gross situation right now. Like Bryce Young right now, he's thrown for 150 yards or fewer in 5 games so far this year. So again, kind of hard to like hit your start at any pass catcher for the Carolina Panthers. And then Bijan, man, has been held in check over the last 4 games, under 100 yards from scrimmage. Bryce Young, he struggles against the blitz. And so far this year, 38 of 67, 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions against the blitz. So I'm still trying to rack my brain about how they even lost this game the first time, which I'm trying to rack my brain about. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. These are 2 pretty good situations to play defenses on, I would say. Nobody's playing either one of them. If you told me that this game didn't hit the over, I wouldn't be shocked. If this game did get over, I would say probably Michael Penix probably had like a classic 250 yards, 2 touchdown, 1 interception game. And no, like I don't think any of us had it in our bingo cards that the Falcons would be 3-6 and the Panthers would be 5-5. Definitely didn't have that on the scorecard so far this year. As far as players that I'm playing, I think I'm comfortable going back to Uncle Rico. He's 20% on today, so I'm comfortable going there. Man, like the Falcons, they do play different at home, but like I don't know what that's going to look like, and I think like that's the underlying tone here with this Falcons team is like you don't know what you're getting. Like you don't know what you're getting. So, but I think like with the Panthers, we do know what we're getting, and like what we're getting. As I say this, Penix is looking good on Run the Sims. Yeah, no. Oh my God, bro. Oh my God. Yeah, I just. Bleh. Oh man, and maybe you might be right, Rick. Like maybe it hits, man. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna take the Falcons in this game. I'll play some defenses here. I got Kyle Pitts in a couple spots. Wasn't quite at the field with everybody else. I think like on FanDuel, he was like 16% or so. So I knocked him down to like 9 or 10% just to be slightly under the field to be able to get to a couple of different options at tight end. Yeah, this is not going to be a sexy game. I'll just take the Falcons, close my eyes, and probably play the Falcons and the Panthers defense in a lot of other scenarios because this is going to be one of those games for me.
Yeah, that's fair enough. All right. To another crappish game. We have a team with a tie. Green Bay Packers, baby. Green Bay 5-3-1 on the year. Packers getting 7 going into East Rutherford, New Jersey, to take on the Giants. Over under 42.5. The Packers, man, are a weird team, right? Mm-hmm. They're a very weird team. Their losses have been really weird. The tie was weird, right? I think this has to be a bounce back spot for both Josh Jacobs and Jordan Love, right? It has to be, right? Giants, they're starting Jameis Winston now. No Jackson Dart today. No Brian Daboll because he got the can. And that's just kind of how things go. I wish Brian Daboll the best. He got put into a shitty scenario in my eyes. And that's how, their biggest mistake, letting go of Barkley. Anyhow, yeah, so hey, this is what it is. But anyhow, Green Bay Giants, it's just something where, I think I just expect a big game for Josh Jacobs in this one. Giants second highest expected run percentage, 8.7 yards to running backs. And with Jacobs, he's a big boy. That's got to get started. And I think with the lack, the injuries, like we don't know the final report for the receivers today. But Christian Watson's someone that's seeing his, snap share increase since he's been back. So I expect him to, come out and do something with him early, catch a long pass or, just get him involved really early just to consistently be there. Obviously, you're just down to some of your backups. Wicks is going to be playing today. That's a good thing. Not sure about Romeo Dobbs. I think he's definitely playing today, right?
Yeah, he was on the injury report with the chest, but nothing more. He hasn't been completely declared out, so probably leaning towards playing him.
Okay. So I mean, look, some of the weapons are there, but I just think they're gonna have to flow through Jacobs in this one. The matchup's there, to do it. I think that the Giants, we'll just have to see what Jameis Winston's all about. Obviously, no Darius Slay today, and that would have probably been the guy people would have probably been on today because of how Jameis Winston's tendency to throw the deep ball downfield. So I mean, the next guy up is probably Jalen Hyatt for those guys in 14, 16 team leagues right now. I need probably a dart throw. Jalen Hyatt is probably something you can think about. But obviously Wan'Dale Robinson should still get featured, even though Jameis Winston loves to chuck the ball downfield. Him, Theo Johnson. We talked about Theo Johnson. Well, you talked about Theo Johnson on Monday. In terms of how he should be benefiting. Obviously didn't know about the QB change, but he's someone that I do think in terms of usability, usage, should definitely see an uptick for sure, even in this scenario where they're gonna have to keep on throwing football. So give me the Packers to cover in this one because I do think that they just ride the pine with Josh Jacobs, Emmanuel Wilson, and really just find a way just to get the job done and keep things easy. What you got to say about this game, Johnny?
Death, taxes, Josh Jacobs touchdown. Guaranteed. Jacobs is second in rushing TDs, and the Giants ranked 30th in that space. So seems like a pretty good recipe to me for Josh Jacobs to score a touchdown today. And then just some more Josh Jacobs, second amongst running backs with 22 carries inside the 10-yard line. Guess where the Giants rank? Guess where they rank?
You tell me, Johnny. You tell me.
30th, not 31st. So yeah. So yeah, it just seems like a really good spot. Just as far as Josh Jacobs here. I like it. I like the spot for him. I'm a little bit apprehensive about Jordan Love and the pass catchers. I think Wan'Dale, you can go there with Jameis, I think, and Theo. I like that. So yeah, I like this space here. And a weird stat too, as far as the Giants, not the Giants, but the Packers go. Where did I see? There we go. Packers have lost 3 games in which they have allowed 16 points or fewer. So realistically, if the Giants can find a way, statistically speaking, to score 3 touchdowns, they got a good chance to win this game. But I'm just going to take the Packers straight up, and I actually hope they lose because as I'm looking, there's a lot of people taking the Packers in my survivor pool. So I hope they lose today. Yeah.
That's funny. He's like, okay, well, they're going to take him? All right, well, we're going to take this guy instead. Yeah, I hope you guys got it.
I hope so.
We have breaking news. Breaking news. Keon Coleman not playing today. He's a healthy scratch. Because apparently he missed Fridays. He was late to meetings and he was late to the Friday meeting. Really?
Well,
what the NFL's doing these days now?
Yeah, but I think that info had already came out that he wasn't going to be available. That was out last night. And I know we kind of just obviously rambling about the Bills game, but yeah, man, at this point, what do you even do with Keon Coleman, man? I think I had him in one league and I dropped him. it started off looking very promising, first 2 weeks.
So I picked up Josh Palmer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, all right, well, I pick up Josh Palmer. Do I start him or I start Wilson? 6-7?
Yeah, right. Right.
Michael Wilson probably, but hopefully it cuts a better game environment. But anyhow, off subject. Moving on to the 4:00 game. We have a doozy between the Seahawks and the Rams. 4:05 time start. Over under 48.5. Both these teams 7-2 on the year. Who's more dangerous, Johnny? Seahawks or the Rams?
I'm gonna go with the Rams, and the only reason why I'm gonna go with the Rams is because I think it's a lot easier to trust Matt Stafford than it is to trust Sam Darnold. I think like if you need to come back and win, Matt Stafford is your guy, and obviously, like even if not, like he's your guy. I still worry a little bit about Sam Darnold, like in an environment or a situation where he's the guy that has to lead the charge. I think when everything is even kill, there's no like negative game script. I think like Sam Darnold is phenomenal. And I think like he even showed that last year in Minnesota. And I'm a big Sam Darnold guy. I never thought I would be saying that 3 years ago, but like big Sam Darnold guy, man. So like, yeah, I think like just for me, like I trust the Rams a little bit more than I trust the Seahawks. DraftKings and FanDuel, man, like they are not letting you get any of these players in your lineups all together because they are all expensive, with the exception of the Seattle running backs, which I think is a really interesting spot to potentially get to in a game environment that's got 49 points.
I'm all set.
Maybe. Like in a GPP setting, I'll sprinkle it in here and there. But I think like that's just it's a really weird situation. And then too, like you have Rashid Shaheed, who I think like he only had one catch last week. So I'll be interested to see how they continue to kind of keep incorporating him. Cooper Kupp, dust at this point. But again, like a game environment, right, that has, almost 50 points in it. So this is a great way, right? Like if you're running stacks for some of these other games, to be able just to get some pieces in there, right? Like Barner's another good piece to try to, work in there. So yeah, like it's a really, from a DFS side of things, like it could be a really great game environment, but I also pause with caution as well, because I think this is also the tale of two really good football teams, two division rivals. Like if you told me this game ended up being 21-17, I wouldn't be like, damn, I can't believe that. I wouldn't be shocked, but like, if you also later tonight, if we look at this and go, JSN just broke the single game record for receiving yards, and both of these teams put up, 95 points, I'd be like, I can see that too. The only reason why like I really don't is because like both of these defenses are actually like really good. Like that's the only reason why like I don't think I'm not so like, oh, like yeah, it's gonna shake like this. Because again, like I love what Seattle's doing. I've been saying it all year long. Like I love what they're doing. But yeah, this could really be one of those games that like maybe it doesn't hit, and maybe it's just a better real world football game than it is from a fantasy side. Ownership wise, like when you get here and look at this game right here, as far as the 4 o'clock window goes, let me get away from these Giants, man. Nobody wants them on their team anyway. When you look at that, JSN is the highest owned guys at 17% in that space. So, like, which obviously makes sense, but his price tag is pretty pricey. And then Puka Nacua, 13% as well.
Wow,
I think, like, yeah, he's only 13% owned. And then, like, I felt like there was, like, some injury stuff that was going on with Devontae Adams this week. So like he's only at Devontae's only at like 4%. So like there's definitely a place for you to get different there. And Stafford's only 2% owned. So like you could definitely get to the Rams side of things on DraftKings if you wanted to, be different and just run a Tay Stafford stack and maybe, throw in one of those Seattle running backs or maybe like an AJ Barner or Rashid Shaheed, right? Because we all know Shaheed can break the slate. And this is different because like the Rams haven't seen Shaheed with the Seahawks, obviously. So I'm mildly excited about this game today in the 4 o'clock window.
The 4 o'clock games, there's some excitement to be had because there's going to be some decent, juicy matchups in a way, and some decent. We have this is the first time I think all season we've had at least 4 games in the 4 o'clock window.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Well, there's only two because there's only two teams on bye. There's only one
Yeah,
international game, so like that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah. I would say this game. Give me the Rams. I think we've talked about it before. I think both of these teams have our respect. I just think the Rams aren't getting enough respect for what's been going on. For again, both of these, like you said, I think it's a little bit more easier to stick with Stafford. I mean, Stafford over Darnold. Darnold's still been doing great. It's just one of those spots where I just think that the Rams are on the cusp of being a Super Bowl contender. It was just for me like their defense just needs to shore up just that tad more, and now I'm a bit more bought in. I think Seattle's also his defense pretty well, so I definitely expect the under in this one. I think both of these defenses can definitely get after it today. Excuse me, when it comes to this matchup. So give me the Rams and give me the under. I do think that, again, this could be, like you said, I think it's going to be one of those games where it's like, I'll just say, from a prediction score perspective, like 23-17 or something like that. Something along those, like, NFC, like, West, like, gross scoring outputs. So definitely that. So, Niners, Cardinals. Niners getting -2.5 going on the road. Brian Thomas officially inactive. Going against the Cardinals. Cardinals have been gritty overall all seasons in most games. The over under 40.5. I guess what I like about this game overall is really just like you're getting Brock Purdy back. So that should be a relatively good thing. So when it comes to the Niners, they're 6-4 with a schedule that they still have one of the easiest schedules remaining in the NFL. So they're not by all means out of it. And then again, they win this matchup, and then the loser, obviously the Rams, Seahawks, they're still right back into this NFC race, tied with whoever loses, and then still a game back from ultimately still competing, taking the division crown. So again, Brock Purdy comes into this matchup starting. And, the Cardinals have been pretty decent against quarterbacks, honestly. They haven't allowed more than one passing touchdown last 6 games. Crazy.
Yeah.
For all the injury woes and all the Cardinals been doing, like, it's like, what? Okay. And then for, the Niners side of things consistently still, I expect George Kittle, CMC, like, these guys, they're going to have to start being great again, right? McCaffrey, he's been good. It's just more like he hasn't been like great-esque McCaffrey, right? In the last couple of weeks, at least. So, but Purdy means that George Kittle gets a bump, I feel, in terms of the usage, and we could see a spike game for George Kittle in this one. On the other side of things for the Cardinals, like, is Bam Knight playing today? Because that would, him, DeMarcado, and stuff like that, the running back carousel is annoying as hell. Obviously, no Marvin Harrison Jr., like crazy freaking appendectomy injury. Like, I'm just like, what? So he could be out for the season now? Like, So, yep. Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, you know what I'm saying? If these are your last minute calls, go get at least one or two of them. In your, overall for your roster, because we don't know how it's going to shake out. Like, Dortch is one of those guys that is Swiss Army knife, and then Michael Wilson's still like the big X receiver. So obviously McBride is going to definitely have a a usage bump as well, and he's 6,300 today, DraftKings. So he's the top price.
Who's that? McBride.
Yeah.
Yep, 63.
So that's where oh boy, Josh Johnson just entered the game for Marcus Mariota overseas. Oh boy. That's why we don't do the overseas games.
Love it.
Give me the Niners in this one. I think that Cardinals are definitely playing some gritty football, but I just think that with the Niners, they know they got to keep pace. They know they have to keep on winning. And Brock Purdy coming back in this lineup should give you a nice little shot in the arm for this team, even though Mac Jones has been pretty decent.
Yeah, this game is the lemon pepper chalk game is what this is. Like McBride is 30%, McCaffrey is 22, Michael Wilson is 21, Jacoby Brissett 14, Kittle 12. So like obviously there's a lot of eyes on this game right here. which rightfully so, I think. And the 49ers have not been very good. I think they're 28th or 29th in the league as far as like red zone passing completion percentage, translation, passing touchdowns. And Jacoby Brissett, again, like I've said it before, like I still don't think that like he is a every week starter. He's a great backup. I like him here in this space today. I think it's a good space for him. And I'm interested to see what happens with the 49ers, because you're not wrong like about like the Cardinals and like how they've actually been playing. Like they haven't necessarily put it together for wins. So I'll be interested to see, like, and it's you mentioned like McCaffrey. I kind of, not to go completely way off out in left field, but like I kind of liken it to LeBron. He's at the age that he's at and he's got the carries and the work and da-da-da. And like, we're still expecting him to be like 24, 25-year-old Christian McCaffrey. And it's just not that. It's a little bit different. It's more volume based. So definitely some really good options here, like in this space, like for the Cardinals for sure. I even like don't mind playing the Cardinals defense as well. Like I don't mind that. I know it's a 49.5 over. Brock Purdy's a little bit probably a little bit rusty. We'll see how this goes, man. But I'm only excited about this game just from the fantasy side of it. Is really like the biggest thing for me. And I think like this is, Ricky Pearsall too. We didn't even talk about that, man. We didn't even talk about him possibly making his return back today.
Yeah, he's playing today.
So like this is the 49ers team that we thought we were going to see. So we get a chance to preview that. We get a chance to see that 11 weeks into the season.
Yeah, right.
Didn't take too long for that. So this should be a fun game. But as much as I want to go against everything that I've always said about this Cardinals team, I have a gut feeling. I wish the line was a little bit more. If it was like 3.5 or 4.5, like I might mess around with Arizona. But I'll take the 49ers in this space and just not get Q.
Looks like it went up actually.
Yeah.
So 3.5. You gonna take him now? Now it's 3.5.
No, I can't say it with conviction. And if I did, I'd be lying. Yeah. I'll just take the 49ers on the money line and live my life.
Oh man, gotta love line adjustments, right? Doing it live, baby. We doing it live. Ravens Browns. Ravens getting 7.5 on the road, going to Cleveland. Take on the Browns. 38.5 over under. Like I think we talked about earlier with Lamar, like he hasn't looked spry, but I feel like this should be, it's been a couple of weeks now for him. So it feels like to me this should be a spot where he should start looking like himself again in some ways. If he doesn't, then there's really a problem. But that being said, look, I found an interesting stat. I dug in a little bit. My lock of the day is Derrick Henry, 6,600 DraftKings. I'm not moving off. And the reason for that is, look, if the Ravens are going to want to be the Ravens, if they're going to have any shot of consistently moving the football, it's going to have to be through, obviously, Lamar's arm. But with Derrick Henry, you got to feed the man the football. I know the Browns have been really good. I know they shut him down the first time they had him. But here's my notion. It's Derrick Henry. As the season gets colder, as it gets, if it gets more colder, who do you start relying on? A guy like Derrick Henry. Who's gonna move the rock consistently? Who's gonna want to tackle Derrick Henry? So my whole thing is 6,600 on DraftKings, a little bit pricey, I get it, but I'm locking him into my lineups today, and I'm not, sweating it. I think with the Browns, not exactly I think, but I know in the last 3 games, they've allowed at least a 70-yard rusher in every single one of those games. So I think Derrick Henry could easily get 70 yards. I think he could easily get a touchdown, especially if the Ravens consistently keep on being the Ravens. So Give me the Ravens. I like the 7, so tease it down to the 7. Hold on a second.
While he's talking about that, or as he was saying that, he's been on the Ravens here for the last 2 weeks. He locked in Lamar last week in his lineup, and it's a good call, man, with the Derrick Henry and the 70 yards. But for me, I like the Ravens defense more in this spot than I like anything else. I'm not really playing a lot of Ravens here in this game. Not playing a lot of Browns either. Just for me, I just think like this is just. I think there's just too much. There's too much at stake. Too much at stake for the Ravens here to be messing around with a 2-win Cleveland team with Dylan Gabriel quarterback. Just there's too much. There's too much at stake here. And depending on what happens, obviously in this Pittsburgh game, like if Pittsburgh somehow not going to put it out in the universe, the worst happens today. The Ravens are right back in the thick of things, right? And they have the Steelers twice before the season ends. So I just think like this is a spot where like they don't play around. Like this is what it is. I think they can turn Dylan Gabriel over. I think they can get to him. So yeah, like it's that is actually my survivor pick. That's how confident I am in the Ravens. But it's just I don't know how they're going to get there. And like, yeah, maybe Lamar Jackson does come out here today, man. Maybe he does throw 3 or 4 touchdowns. But I've been saying it like it is just the explosiveness. And he was on the injury report today, not today, but this week. He was on the injury report this week with a bad knee. So the bad knee, the bad hamstring, like I feel like it could be one of those games where and the Browns for some reason, man, like they typically play the Ravens pretty hard. Obviously, the historical battle like doesn't have anything to do with the guys that are playing now, but in that same space, just an interesting stat like as well. The Browns have 280 touches from rookies this season. That's the most in the NFL. And the team that actually had the most through 9 games was actually the 86 Bengals. So the retransformation of the Cleveland Browns is happening right in front of our face. Like at what point in time do we see Shedeur Sanders? I think that's another question that opens up like a whole nother can of worms. Yeah, man, like I like the Ravens in every angle of this game. There isn't a space where like I don't think they will. Derrick Henry, man, like maybe things start to click for him, maybe, but like so far this year, it hasn't been the Derrick Henry that we've been accustomed to know and love. He's been average, I guess would be a good way to say it. So, yeah, so I'll take the Ravens here in this spot.
I'm in agreement with the Ravens. Like the defense is starting to become, more healthy, and they're starting to be a little bit more bullish. So that's why I like the Ravens in this spot as well. So that game script should set up for Derrick Henry to consistently get the rock. So we'll just have to see. Moving on to the final game, we have a doozy. We have an AFC West showdown. Once again, whatever I used to upload stuff was acting really weird on me for records. Doing it live, folks. Doing it live. Because Denver, I think they're 8-2. 8-2, yeah. It's 8-2. Excuse me. Gee Louise. Anyhow, Chiefs 5-4 going into Denver 8-2. Over under 44.5. Final game with the 4:00 slate. Look, Chiefs, right? The Chiefs, right? This has to be a spot for them to win, right? It has to be. Although Denver beat their asses first game, right? What are you saying?
What am I saying about the game and who do I think? I think like this is just a spot where the Broncos are rolling. Mile High has always been a really tough place to play. In what is it, 9 years, I believe, with Patrick Mahomes. Maybe I'm wrong as far as his tenure, but I think like in 9 years, man, it's always hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes, man, aka this generation's Tom Brady. But the one ironic thing is Mile High was always Tom Brady's kryptonite. This is going to be interesting, and I like these type of spots for a lot of big name players. Like I like this spot for a guy like Cortland Sutton, right, who hasn't necessarily been what we thought we were getting. I think this is a big spot for a guy like Travis Kelce too. Like when you look at guys that like teams traditionally have relied on from like from the offensive side of things, right? So I like both of those guys in the space, especially on FanDuel. Travis Kelce, I think his price is like 58 or 5,400 or something like that right there, and I think this is just a really good spot for him to be at. Obviously, the Broncos and RJ Harvey getting his first career start. So like now here we are in week 11, and these rookie running backs are finally starting to pay some dividends for people. So like I think it'll be interesting to see how the dynamic of that changes, what the Chiefs do and how they've approached things with J.K. Dobbins going on IR. So of course, the one time I don't bring any water in here. So looking at it from like the ownership side of things with Kansas City and Denver, Rashee Rice 15% owned, RJ Harvey 14% owned, and then Bo Nix is just not. He's not being played a lot. And I put him into my player pool just because, again, like nobody's playing him. It's a 45.5 point over under. Like the Broncos really need this win big time. Like people are really sour on him for a lot of various reasons. And I should be sour after the 17 points they put up against the 10 points that they put up. I would have died for 17. The 10 points they put up against the Raiders. But I think like this is a spot where like Bo Nix he'll have to duel Patrick Mahomes today. So I like this spot here. I like this spot again, like with a lot of the miscellaneous Chiefs pass catchers, guys like I know Nick, you were talking about Xavier Worthy last night. You got Hollywood Brown as well, which I think like this could be like a really nice space for him. I just think there's like a lot of different ways you can get some action in this game here. But again, like this also could be a game where if you told me it didn't hit the over, I wouldn't be shocked. Patrick Mahomes, I'm pretty sure he's still the QB1 or was the QB1 for fantasy so far this season. So like for me, I'm going to take the Broncos is what I'm going to take. I'm going to take the Broncos. Well, I'm not going to take them straight up. I'll take the points for the Broncos because being – what 5-point dog essentially at home, like I think that speaks volumes to things. And like we didn't know the Chiefs would be 5-4 right now, so this is absolutely a must-win game for sure for them. So yeah, I guess give me the Broncos and the points, and I guess I'll take the Chiefs on the money line if I'm gonna do it that way.
I find it really hard to take Kansas City right now in the weirdest way. Like, I just think Denver's been playing so well. And I know they just lost J.K. Dobbins, but that shouldn't move the needle that much, right? I know the Chiefs are obviously a solid team, like I know they have to win this game, but it's like I just feel like Denver's been playing too much. So give me the plus 190 for Denver today. Get it done at home. I think they shut the door down on the Chiefs here to be like, hey, like, yo, this ain't your year. You know what I'm saying? This ain't your year. And that's it. So that's just kind of how I see that. I think the Chiefs, again, like, can they still find a way to sneak in? Of course. But I don't think there's a spot. I don't get it. Something's up here where it's like, I don't know, maybe Mahomes keeps the ball away from him long enough, they score enough to where, like, all right, Denver's have to keep on throwing the football like they did before. But I know Denver has gotten off to weird spots where they've gotten, off their rocker a little bit. And then they haven't gotten, Bo Nix and these guys haven't gotten consistency. So that could happen here in this spot too. But again, they're at home plus 4.5 dog for 8-2 team. Like, I know no Surtain and stuff today too, but I don't know. I just think Denver's a bit more of a complete team overall right now, just putting it all together. So give me Denver. In probably I don't want to say upset of the week, but an upset. To the prop shop we go. Okay, 61% on the year today. So 83 and 53 on the year overall. We were 11-7 last week. We had a couple of bad beats that should have got us at least to 14. But you know what? I'm not gonna complain. We're just gonna have to keep on swinging, keep on going, bruh. If y'all been following, congratulations. If you ain't following, what you doing? So yeah, prop shop for this week, as I have a lot of background noise, so bear with me. Core 4 bets for week 11 as follows. Derek May. Nice. Baker Mayfield. Over 203 passing yards. Bucks are 25th in running the football. And that's because they haven't had Bucky for like 6-7 games. Rashad White's just not the in-between tackles guy, whatever. I just expect Baker to take this line over easily just because of I know the wind and stuff like that in Buffalo is going to be, a challenge and stuff, but the only way the Bucs are going to keep themselves in this game is that they're going to be throwing the football with Baker. He hasn't looked like Baker the last couple games, but I'm just going to take the low line of here. He averages 240 passing yards, a contest. So I'm just taking the low line here. We know how Baker is. He's going to keep firing the football. Christian Watson, 40 yards receiving or more. The overall healthiest Packer receiver, I would say, and his snap count is increasing. We all know what Christian does, and that's receive, long shots down the field. I see a lot of people on the longest reception. But I'll just take the easy 40 yards. I do think they'll keep him involved enough in this one to clear that line. Kyron Williams, 60 rushing yards or more. I know Seattle is a top 5 defense to stopping the run, as are the Rams. But this game is going to be one of those back and forth. Both teams want to establish the run and want to, establish what they want to do best. And I think that Kyron Williams, it was a plus money line in this spot, but I do like Kyron here. I think this spells for a game where they won't use as much Corum. They'll like to lean in on more Kyron here in this spot just because it'll be more of a competitive contest. So give me Kyron for over 60 yards rushing or more. Lamar Jackson, I'm going back to the well. We were 2 yards off this prop last week for Lamar Jackson, so I expect us to clear this time around. In Cleveland, there's going to be times where, again, they play a lot of man coverage. So what does that mean for Lamar? It means that he's going to not only capitalize on that, but there's going to be running lanes open. So give me Lamar Jackson, 38 yards, or more overall rushing. Jaylen Warren, talked about him earlier, has the spot of the week. So I'm taking the total yards here. You can get the plus money for 110 if you want that, but I took the minus 130 for the total yards for Jaylen Warren. Again, Pittsburgh, no matter what the game script really is going to call for, should be getting Jaylen Warren football. From a rushing perspective, it's just, again, he's been solidified as the RB1 for terms of carries, so he could get there that way. But also, again, what Rodgers likes to do is also check down the ball a lot. So Jaylen Warren could definitely get there as well. So next couple, we have Justin Herbert over 253 yards, 53 and a half passing yards or more. Herbert's done it consistently this year, and there's no stopping him here. And even with this offensive line, quote unquote, being banged up and obviously all the injuries and stuff like that, he's someone that overall is going to get the job done, I feel. So it's easy. Jay Jettas, baby. This is the bounce back spot that we're looking for. 75 receiving yards or more. I'm just going to take the quote on him saying that they need to be more in savage mode. And I think that this is like a little squeaky wheel narrative for Justin Jefferson today. I think he's going to go for 100 yards today. So I think this is the spot. If this is not the spot for Justin Jefferson, I don't know when the spot will come. In a game that's a highly competitive over-under environment. Again, the Bears secondary has been crap all year. They're getting banged up with injuries constantly. I just think this is the spot for Jay Jettas. And lastly, I got T. Higgins, 5 receptions or more. Obviously all the attention will go to Jamar Chase, right? But that's where T. Higgins should also come into play as well. So this should be an easy spot for T. Higgins to get the job done. So give me T. Higgins for the 5 receptions or more. Now to do it for the prop shop of the week. That's that. What you got for us, Johnny? Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Oh man, not a lot, man. Just hoping for much better results. When we chat a little bit later on tonight on all ends. I think it's been a little dry here the last couple of weeks, so hopefully we hopefully these beats catch up to us, man. You know what I mean? So
I know, literally. I think last couple of weeks has been a little bit rougher. Overall, it's been great. A few of those, I like hitting the singles, but it's I want a home run.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice. It would be nice.
Maybe I'll make a ticket just for that Bengals Steelers game so we can get. So we can overall get our ship's rocking. But that being said, of course, join us later this afternoon, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, where we break down, recapping all the 1 and 4 o'clock games, and then get you ready for Sunday night football between the Lions and the Eagles. We're breaking that down for you guys as well. Got a little showdown lineup for y'all as well. That being said, for Johnny, myself, we out of here. We'll see you tonight, 7:30 p.m. EST. Peace.